Desires and self-sabotage, the dialectic of the pursuit of happiness. The 7 key actions. Hello everyone, girls and boys of all ages from Vertical, the channel that accompanies you on your personal growth journey. Welcome to this new video. Today we will talk about our desires and the pursuit of happiness. We will also talk about the self-sabotaging actions that hinder this path. If you like the video, please like and subscribe to the channel by hovering your mouse over our logo at the bottom right. In the heart of every man, hidden in the most hidden folds of his soul, a silent battle takes place, mysterious and sometimes invisible to the most distracted eyes. It is a fight that knows no truce, a conflict in which the only winner seems to be the one who manages to survive the longest. This war is not fought with weapons, but with ideas, emotions, and, above all, with thought. It is the war between our deepest desires, those that shine like stars on the horizon of our consciousness, and the insidious mechanisms of self-sabotage that our unconscious has put in place to protect us from the very happiness we crave. Imagine the scene. The protagonist of our story, a man like many others, wakes up every morning with a dream that is reflected in his heart. He desires happiness. He desires to achieve what seems unattainable, a full, satisfying life, in harmony with himself and with the world around him. Every day, as he prepares to face reality, his thoughts are fixed on what could be. He sees himself reaching impossible goals, conquering very high peaks, running free towards the horizon, and he firmly believes that all this is within his reach. In this first act, consciousness is the heroine of our story. Her strength is visualization. She sees what could be, and she wants it. Happiness, the realization of dreams, are the goals. There is nothing that can stop her, or so she believes. But every story has its antagonist, and in ours it is none other than the unconscious. This shadow is the antagonist that does not manifest itself with a face and body, but with subtle nuances, apparently harmless gestures and thoughts that appear as whispered voices, almost imperceptible. The unconscious, in reality, is the true architect of the duel, because it is able to condition every thought, every action, every emotion, without the consciousness perceiving it clearly. The unconscious is the keeper of past experiences, of unhealed wounds, of fears that have never been faced, of buried memories. It is the archive of everything that the individual has experienced, but also of what he has tried to forget. Yet, every time the protagonist tries to take a step towards happiness, his unconscious is activated. The dream of a fulfilled, prosperous and serene life is obscured by feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, and fear. Every move forward seems, in reality, a step back. Reality, for the unconscious, is a minefield of psychological defenses that manifest as procrastination, doubts, insecurities, and repeated mistakes that prevent the realization of the dream. Consciousness, however, does not give up. It tries in every way to bypass the defenses of the unconscious. Sometimes the fight turns into a war of wits. Consciousness begins to deceive, to create illusions, to make its way into the labyrinth of the unconscious. He takes refuge in positive thinking, in affirmations, in a will there is a way. But these tactics, unfortunately, often prove ineffective. The subconscious, which is a master at defending its vision of reality, is always ready to unmask deceptions. Every time the consciousness tries to push itself further, the subconscious stops it, sends it back. The game of masks, of triumphs and defeats, of hopes and disappointments, becomes the terrain in which the protagonist struggles. Every attempt to turn the tables seems to founder in the feeling that, no matter how strong the push, something invisible always holds it back. In this battle, consciousness and unconsciousness are like two gladiators who face each other without ever being able to prevail over each other. But then, unexpectedly, a powerful force comes into play. Fantasy, imagination, creativity. Consciousness needs allies, and imagination is its secret sword, its ace in the hole. When the logic of the will fails, when the mechanisms of the subconscious seem invincible, imagination makes its way delicately, without forcing. To imagine is to create new worlds, possible, unattainable by the intellect alone. Imagination is not concerned with what has been, nor with the limits imposed by the past. It is the art of possibility, the key that unlocks the door to future reality. Here, through constant practice, even just a small change in the perception of things, the imagination can force the subconscious to change its rules. A new vision of the self makes its way, without deception, but with the strength of a creativity that challenges the internal laws. Victory in this battle is never total. The war never really ends. But through constant practice of creative strategies, new habits, and a continuous exploration of the unconscious, consciousness can break down the barriers that separate it from the realization of its dream. Happiness is not a prize that comes from the outside, but an achievement that comes from the courage to face one's fears, to challenge one's deepest nature, and to nourish one's vision with actions that speak of trust and hope. The battle between consciousness and unconsciousness, then, is not just a conflict between two opposing forces. It is a dance, a balancing act, a creative act that, if well orchestrated, can lead the protagonist to a new reality, a reality in which happiness is not just a wish, but a condition achieved through imagination and practice. Here are some practical suggestions for using creativity as a tool for inner transformation. Practice creative imagination daily. The first and most important strategy is training your imagination. Every day, take some time to visualize the life you want. Don't limit yourself to superficial images, but immerse yourself in the details, colors, sensations, emotions that vision arouses in you. Visualization becomes more powerful when associated with authentic emotions. Try to feel in your body the joy you would feel in seeing your dreams come true. Imagination must be alive, concrete, and vibrant. This exercise not only trains the mind to think creatively, but sends signals to the subconscious, forcing it to review its perception of reality. Embracing creative flow through journaling. Another powerful creative tool is journaling, or free writing. Writing without judgment or expectation can be a very liberating act. Every day, write freely what comes to mind: thoughts, fears, desires, dreams. In this unfiltered space, your deepest thoughts and your unconscious will surface. The act of writing also helps you become aware of any internal blocks or self-sabotage that are rooted in your psyche, allowing you to face and overcome them. Integrating the art of play into everyday life. Creativity doesn't have to be a practice reserved only for leisure or hobbies. Integrating play into daily life is essential. When we approach life with a playful attitude, the subconscious mind loosens up, becoming more open to new things and changes. Try to face daily challenges as if they were opportunities for play, keeping an open and curious mind. Treating life as a creative experiment, without fear of making mistakes, helps to bypass the defense mechanisms of the unconscious, which fears failure and risk. Experiment with the practice of creative mindfulness. Mindfulness, or awareness in the present moment, can be enriched by a creative approach. Don't just observe the moment with detachment, but also try to perceive it with the eyes of an artist. When you eat, walk, talk to someone, try to focus on every detail, every nuance, as if you were in a creative process. Creativity should not be confined to art or specific moments, but should be experienced as an energy that permeates everything. When you commit to seeing the beauty and possibility in every moment, the subconscious begins to respond positively, opening up to change. Create daily rituals of creative rebirth. To break down old limiting beliefs and habits, it's helpful to create daily rituals that symbolically signal a new beginning, a rebirth. These rituals can be anything from exercise to simply changing your morning routine. The important thing is that they represent an act of transformation and personal growth. The daily repetition of these rituals helps to root the new vision of yourself in the subconscious. When you make a symbolic gesture that connects you to a better version of yourself, the subconscious integrates it as a new possible reality. Embrace creativity with a mindset of constant experimentation. Another important aspect is not to see creativity as an isolated act or a goal to be achieved, but as a way of approaching life itself. When you face a problem, instead of seeing the solution as an obligatory step, try to approach it with an experimental mindset. This allows you to see every experience as a test, a learning opportunity. Self-sabotage feeds on the fear of failure, but when creativity becomes part of you, you learn to appreciate even mistakes, seeing them as steps in the growth process. Abandon the pursuit of perfection. Perfection is often one of the biggest obstacles that the unconscious erects to protect itself from change. The fear of not being good enough, of failing, of not being able to realize one's dreams, can inhibit creativity. To address this block, it is essential to free yourself from the bondage of perfection. Accept that you will do things imperfectly, that you will be incomplete, that you will try without expecting immediate results. Creativity thrives in freedom, exploration, and acceptance of non-judgment. Creativity is the key that can open the door between the mind and the subconscious, between the vision of happiness and its realization. When consciousness and imagination ally, they can force the subconscious to review its limiting beliefs and embrace new possibilities. However, this process requires patience, constant practice, and the adoption of daily creative strategies that nourish the mind and soul. Only through authentic expression and creative freedom can the individual rewrite their story, break down internal barriers, and experience the happiness that has always been there, hidden, ready to emerge. If you feel that today you have discovered something new and you like the discovery, leave a like to this video. Any thoughts or insights you have in mind, write them immediately in the comment box. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of any further publications. Also share it with your friends. Thanks for your attention, see you soon.